and jelly spoons, welcome back to Badgerworks. Today, this. This is the squad leader figure from our recent diorama build, and I mentioned in that video that this guy needs to have some electronics run through his body. So today I'm going to try and show you how I intend to make this fit. So yeah, let's get on with it. Right, so what I need to do is, I don't know why I do this to myself, I really don't, but basically what I need to do is drill a hole along the length of his arm. Actually, suitable pointing device. So I've got to drill along the length of his arm, then down through his body, through his leg, out the bottom, and then through the base of the diorama. And those, that hole is for this. So this is a 1206 LED, surface mount LED. It's 1206, it means it's 1.2 millimeters long and 0.6 millimeters wide. And he's going to be holding it in his hand as a torch. So the wires, now these are very thin wires that I got, especially for this project. But even so, it's still going to be quite tricky to get them through his body and out the bottom. So it's kind of annoying really, because normally these Tamiya figures, the arms are separate and the torso is separate and the legs are separate, but of course on this one it all had to be in one piece, didn't it? But there you go, that's just the way it is. So what I'm going to do is, I've had a few ideas on how to do this. Now one of the things I'm going to do, he wouldn't normally have this, but in this case he's going to, is I've got the backpack, and he's going to have that on his back, and it actually does fit quite well, as you can see. And the reason that's going to be there is so that I can basically drill a hole in his back and kind of hollow out part of his back, so that when I drill through I can make that 90-degree transition down his leg, because otherwise it would basically be impossible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Dremel with a small burr, and I'll just mark this with a pen, and then just basically remove some of the material from his back, and then once it's done I can stick this over and that will hide the hole. So we'll do that first and then we'll move on from there. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is put this on his back, and I am going to draw around it with this pen, which is a non-permanent marker, and that's just to let me know roughly where to cut. I need to make sure I stay well within those lines, so I'll just draw some extra lines on like that. And that's basically as much as we need to do. Now, to actually make the hole, I've got in the Dremel this little burr, and even small as it is, it's going to be quite tricky to do this. So let me get the safety glasses wherever they are, and then we'll make a start. Right, now I'm going to switch to a different shape burr and clean this hole out a bit. Right, so this one, if it'll focus, is more like an end mill, so it should cut the sides and the bottom a little bit flatter. Right, well, we're getting there. I think we still need to go in a little bit further. But yeah, we're getting there. I'll just keep at it and we'll come back when it's done. Right, so there we have the hole in his back. So what we've got to do now is go in through the end of his arm and all the way along and hit that hole. And for that I'm going to use this, but first I'll just make a little divot in the end of his arm with the point of a blade to act like as a pilot hole. Like that. And then basically we just need to drill all the way through his arm. So just talk amongst yourselves for a minute. This is one of these jobs where one of those little Tamiya drills, those little battery operated Tamiya drills would probably be a good idea. Alright, we're nearly there. Oh, there it goes actually, it's gone through. So, there we go, that's our first hole. Now, what I'm just wondering is I just need to check and make sure these wires actually fit. So I think what I'll do is I'll just cut a piece of this off and fold it in half to give us the double strand. Like that. And now let's see if that will actually go. Oh, it goes through easy. Oh, that's fine. I was just slightly worried that hole might be a bit too small, but it's not. It's perfectly fine. Yeah, 2 pieces of that wire go through easy, so that's fine. So what we need to do now is drill, and this is going to be the tricky bit, is drill up his leg. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the bottom and go up to his knee, and then I'm going to basically try and come in from the top here and go down his leg that way. I think that's going to be the best way to do it. So let's see how we get on with that. I'll drill it out and then I'll kind of update you as I go along. Right, so I have drilled through this end and that is, it's kind of difficult to tell, but what you've got to try and do is try and figure out from the drill bit how far down you are. So that's down pretty much to his knee, and then this one goes up from the bottom to his knee, or just past his knee. Now I think I might have missed slightly, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to use a slightly bigger bit. So this is a 1.5mm and this is a 2mm, and I'm going to open this hole out a bit if I can and see if that will make the holes meet up. Because the other thing I can do, of course, is I can cut his leg off there and make it fit and then glue it back on, but I don't really want to do that if I can avoid it. So I'll try it this way first and then see how we do. Right, now I don't know if you saw that there. See that little white bit of plastic appear there? That's basically telling me that that's right behind there, so I'm going to stop drilling at that point. And it's kind of funny because his leg, I don't know if you can see it, but there's got quite a bend to it compared to the others, but that's because obviously there's a lot less plastic in it. His leg is now effectively hollow. So right, let's see what happens if I see. The trouble is I don't think I can go up this side with this bit. I think it's going to be too big. Oh no, actually it might work. I think part of the problem here is that, I don't know if you can see the white parts there. I think what I've done is, as I've gone in, I've gone quite close to the edge, and also the narrower points like his ankle. The drill is very close to the edge. Yeah, I can see it moving under the plastic there, so I'm not going to drill that because I'm going to end up coming through the side, and I don't want to do that. Yeah, that's still only going up as far as his knee, so those two holes haven't met up. I might end up having to cut his leg off, but I really don't want to if I can avoid it. I'm just going to have to try and work at it for a minute and see what I can do. It's also possible that the holes have met up, but the plastic is kind of, where it's cut through, it might have left some flashing that's like blocked the hole up again, if that makes sense. It's kind of weird because it feels like it's gone through, but I don't know if it has. I've got a feeling the holes are kind of like that. If you see what I mean, they're kind of right next to each other. Let's try an experiment. Right, well, I did it. I managed to get it through. Unfortunately, I did have to drill the hole out a bit deeper than I'd like to, and it's actually made a small hole in the back of his leg, but that's fine. It's a small price to pay, I think you'll find. But there we have it. So that's the hole. So now we can basically run the wires down his arm and out through the bottom of his leg. So that's fine. And the final test is this should, and does indeed, I don't know where you can see that, but that's covering that hole up completely. So yes, success with a bit of brute force and ignorance. Basically what I did was I opened up the hole using a 4mm drill bit, which was, you know, slightly tricky, but basically what that did was, it actually, by opening up the hole, it meant the two holes intersected, which they weren't previously, so which was better than having to cut his whole leg off. So yeah, okay, so that's that. So I think what we'll do now is we'll get him painted up. We'll get him cleaned up first because he's got some terrible mould lines on him, and then we'll see about sorting his hand out and getting the wires fished through and putting him on the diorama.